we've got a video from Rev Says Desu on the Hassan Piker situation. And I don't know anything about this, but everyone's telling me that it's pretty bad. So let's find out.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So this time, I think Hassan Piker might actually be cooked. Now, I'm sure everyone watching this video is aware of his rhetoric that he shares during his Twitch streams that have been heavily criticized, and also how people have criticized Twitch for not doing anything to police or moderate.
See, the problem a lot of people have with this is not even that, like, I'm gonna be real. This might be a hot take. I'm actually okay with him saying whatever. I'm actually okay with him saying vile things, to be honest. I'm fine with it. I just think that everyone should be able to, like, say whatever they want. And then I think it's I think that's like much preferable, because then you can see like his bad arguments and like his bad logic, and then you can just make a decision for yourself and be like, okay, that's like really toxic and that's terrible. The reason why it's preferable is because, again, I think that shining a light on that kind of ideology is the best thing that you can do to counter it. And the problem is not being able to counter it at all by having kind of this disproportionate like enforcement of rules, where one side can literally do whatever the fuck they want. They can breach the rules all day and have barely anything happen to them. And then, you have like cases where VTubers, they show like slightly a little bit of skin on their model and then they get full out fucking banned. Right? It's not fair. It's the same thing with like the IRL streamers who are constantly towing the sexual line. Like, they can get away with it, but then VTubers can't. It's the same thing basically, but like politically, right? Like, for instance, the stuff that Asmongold said and got banned for, it wasn't even like you might say like, okay, it was bad. I still don't think it was bad. Asmongold thinks it was bad. He apologized for it, but the fact that like he can get banned for that he would get banned for something like that was like so mild. And yet, for instance, like you have like Tectone, like, making fun of Frog and then getting banned for that, right? You have those things like juxtaposed with like straight up like supporting terrorism. Is like, it's crazy. It's crazy that how disproportionate the enforcement of the rules are. And that's the problem I think a lot of people have.
His rhetoric that some believe is influencing his viewers. And this time, well, we have entered the finding out phase. Hassan and Twitch have been effing around for many years now, but now we're seeing the finding out stage, because yesterday on a national broadcast, the head of the Anti-Defamation League specifically named...
I mean, it's the ADL though. I mean, like,
named Hassan Piker and talked about his rhetoric and tried to link it to a fatal shooting that took the lives of two members of Israelis' embassy in Washington, D.C.
This is the news from last night that was like breaking, and we didn't really look at it because none of the information wasn't really solid yet. So maybe today there's like a lot more like public information on it.
This is the stage where things are getting very out of hand. This is now reaching national levels and reaching parties that are going to be very aggressively going after people like Hassan Piker and Twitch. Now, before we get into the clips involving that, let's talk about the last 2 weeks or so for Hassan. It's not been very good. It's been filled with a lot of controversy, beginning with his trip back home from France, where he arrived at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, where he was briefly detained. He claims that he was briefly detained and asked a lot of questions about his political views and some of his content and other content creators, where he says he was singled out because of his anti-Trump coverage. He tries to say that this was a
Wait, what? I feel... Wait, hold on. I feel like you'd get singled out for the terrorist sympathizing, not the Trump stuff. That's kind of weird. Thank you for the bits, brother. Thank you.
And he was being basically persecuted because of his political beliefs and his criticism of the administration. However, in an NBC article, a Homeland Security official called his account of the events nothing but lying for likes, and then further claimed that none of this process had anything to do with his political beliefs or any sort of an agenda. They basically called him a liar. And on top of that, other people have been poking at the timeline of events that he shared. Basically, they're saying there's a lot of inconsistencies, and it sounds like the amount of time he claims he spent in detainment doesn't line up with some of the posts he made involving it. But then again, do we have to believe Hassan Piker it didn't happen Piker? We need some forensic evidence to believe anything he's going to say. That's the standard he uses for other people. But also, he joined in, oddly enough, on the discourse involving the supposed right-wing problem in the VTubing scene, saying this is just
That's
how
me.
Twitter...
That's me, by the way. That's me.
Increasingly, most other online spaces feel nowadays. People are no longer able to feel
You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
Shame and wear their bigotry and stupidity like a badge of honor. And then right after that, around that time, he made a comment about India, calling it a rogue terrorist state, which obviously a lot of people in India didn't really appreciate. And around that time, he also got some flack for this thumbnail that was a part of a YouTube upload of some of the stream highlights where he's soy-facing over the prostate cancer diagnosis recently revealed for Joe Biden. And apparently this was his editor who made the thumbnail, which I believe.
My editor would never make a thumbnail that inflammatory. Never. He would never do that to me.
But also, he is literally soy-facing over this diagnosis. He's been celebrating on multiple social media platforms, so I don't really think this is that much of a misrepresentation of his reaction, but it was just another thing that people were criticizing him for. And now the big thing that we're talking about today. So in case you didn't know, about a day ago, 2 staff members of Israel's embassy were fatally shot in Washington, D.C. They were sought out by an individual who found them at a Jewish museum, and he shot and killed them. And when he was being arrested, he shouted, "Free Palestine." Now, not surprisingly, in Hassan's own community on his subreddit, people were having very interesting reactions to this killing. This person saying, "I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'll be in big trouble," with a lot of supports. Here's another one saying, "The most monotone voice imaginable. Oh no, how horrible." This person saying stuff like this was bound to start happening. You can only do what Israel does for so long with no repercussions. And this person saying redacted, referring to their own opinion. And this person saying reminder, no Fed posting chat, with over 400 likes because they're trying to say don't get us.
Some people were like straight up murdered, like just looking at a museum.
In
That's
trouble.
the context here.
We know how you feel about this, but
Like,
just don't say it too obviously. Well, things would take a turn.
Like
Around that.
Remember when I told you about this being bad for your soul and just destroying you from the inside? That's what this is.
At that time, the head of the Anti-Defamation League would go on to CNN, of all places, talk about this killing at this Jewish museum and directly name Hassan Piker and refer to his rhetoric that is causing a lot of issues, and he seemingly tries to attach it to this recent killing.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this, because the
Hot take, guys. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all. The idea that like people that you think are, the idea that you think that people who are what words did he say
look
exactly?
Ourselves in the mirror should not be empowered. Jewish people in the Jewish state, like, extremists should not be empowered.
Extremists should not be empowered. What does that even mean? Like, what is an extremist? And like, and like who determines, who makes that decision, right?
People who spout prejudice should
Who defines that? Like what prejudice, what they mean by that? Who spouts prejudice, right?
not be platformed. This is
That they should be unplatformed. Like who's the one that's going to make that decision? This is the reason why I don't agree with it, because I don't trust whoever has the levers of power to actually make that decision. That's why I'd rather everybody can say whatever they want about people, and like that way you can, well, you know, of course, like as long as you're not directly engaging in calls to violence or things that are going to directly lead to the fire in the crowded theater thing, like things that are directly leading to an incitement that causes like actual harm, because you need to have a space where these ideas can actually battle it out, and that's how you understand like what you believe in, and that's how you pull more people towards your side, right? I don't like the idea that like some person in the government or some person in some kind of private organization is gonna have the ability to make those determinations, because the instant they have power, they can be corrupt, and then they can, again, like you see here on Twitch, you can see them wielding power only when it benefits them, and I'm not for that, because I don't trust. Basically, again, I'm the type of person that doesn't trust the government, so
I'm not a big fan of the government.
moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
No matter what, I think the most outrageous thing going on with this situation is the fact that he referred to Hassan Piker as a gamer, which is funny.
You know, I was gonna say something about that, but then I don't know how good he is at games.
On one hand, like, I get the jokes, but on the other hand, I'll talk about this in a few minutes, but I think the labeling of Hassan Piker as a gamer is much more nefarious than people are really appreciating right now. But like I said, we'll get into that in a second.
Wait, what is 30 on 30? What is that? What is 30 on 30? What are you guys saying?
30 on 30.
So you have to look at the benefit for the ADL to even say this. The only reason that they would jump here is because they can see a lever of power that they want to own. Yes. So the thing is this happens a lot where a tragedy occurs, and like let's not be like retarded here. Like this is obviously a tragedy. Like two people were just murdered, like straight up. Like they're just murdered straight up. They were in a museum. They weren't doing like anything. Even if you want to say that, like, you know, it was like there was some military reason or whatever, or like some kind of activist reason to do, like they were just in a museum, and they were just like, they were sneak attacked. Basically, they were cold blood ambushed, basically. So no matter what, that was bad. That's bad, right? I'm sure we can all agree that that's like a bad thing. Like two people just getting like murdered like that. It's obviously terrible, right? The problem is people will use a tragedy like this in order to strengthen their position and to assert power. And that's what I'm worried about, right? Again, you can have both simultaneously. That on one hand, it was just a terrible tragedy that occurred, and this is a bad thing. And two, I don't want these people to like use it in order to like gain power. They're both simultaneously valid.
Let me establish this right off the bat here. I don't like
government.
anything on this screen. I don't like CNN, I don't like the ADL, and I don't like Hassan Piker. It's basically three morons fighting, and we're just watching.
Me too, Rev.
Right? But there's a lot going on here, and I think this is a really, really bad look for Twitch. Twitch is in big trouble. If you're not aware of this, for a month or two now, there was a major adpocalypse, meaning a lot of advertisers were leaving the platform. They're no longer running ads on Twitch, mainly.
Mazuri says a joke explained is he was covering Kirsha, and the detractor lost his sponsorship, and he launched directly into use code Rev30. that.
Due to the actions of the usual suspects on that platform, people reporting their ad revenue going down by 80 to 90%, and things have actually gotten worse over the past week or so. Some people are now reporting that they've went from making thousands of dollars in ad revenue per day to now dollars. I mean, like $5 to $10. Like, things are getting barren over at Twitch. There's pretty much no ads going around anymore. The site is really cooked, and they have no one to blame but themselves. In this situation, with what the head of the ADL here is saying, you can agree with it, you can disagree with it. It doesn't really matter in a sense because it happened. There's now national eyes and the Anti-Defamation League on Hassan Piker.
Hasn't this happened before, though? I swear there was like news, like... I swear there was news like a year ago about like streamers and ADL. I swear. Am I getting like... I'm just getting like deja vu or something? Like, I swear to God, this just happened.
And Twitch. This is really bad for the platform, okay? This is the finding out stage. People have been warning against this. I don't know how it took so long to get to this sort of level, this escalation, but we're here because nobody tried to stop this. Hassan didn't try to stop his rhetoric. That is insane. And also, Twitch did nothing to police it. They made it very clear they've chosen a side, and it's his side, and he's one of the poster boys of the platform, and that's the way they want it. And when they're referring to these puff pieces, by the way, with the New York Times, this is what they're referring to. This was the original title of the...
That is so fucking cringe. A progressive mind in a MAGA body. What the fuck is this?
Article before the author was bullied into changing it. A progressive mind in a MAGA body. That is the craziest self-own I've ever seen in my life. But they're talking about puff pieces like this alongside Twitch.
Oh my God, it does sound... You know what, Victor? It does sound like a romance novel. It sounds like a... It does. It sounds like a liberal woman romance novel. But instead of like vampires, it's like those monster fucking novels. But instead of monster fucking, it's a person in a MAGA body. So it's like, you know, they see like MAGA people as like monsters, right? It's just the latest trend in the monster fucking genre. Dude, I could probably make a ton of... Oh, dude, I should write one of these. I'd make so much money. Dude, hear me out. I'd make so much money on Amazon. I could be rich.
All of his behavior and platforming him. And that's what this...
New song? You know what, Serums? That's a good fucking point. That's a good... I'm gonna write that down. Hold up. I'm gonna write that down. Progressive mind in a MAGA body. The song, romance song, like the monster fucking genre. All right, there we go.
This guy is inferring...
Guys, I'm getting so much inspiration this week. It's crazy.
Is a possible motivation for what happened. Again, I'm not saying any of this. You can disagree with what he's saying, but the fact that this is a conversation is insane. It's absolutely insane. Now, again, I said I don't like the ADL. They probably got the most support they've ever gotten in a long time because they went after Hassan Piker here. But still, I have my qualms about them because they have attacked gamers and tried to silence them in the past. And that's why I am a bit concerned that they refer to him as a gamer and not a political streamer or something like that. Because in the past, they've done some very out-of-pocket things with gamers, including labeling Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol, officially designated as a hate symbol. They believe using Pepe the Frog, you know, the thing you use when you're on like places like Steam or in Twitch chats, they believe that is an alt-right anti-Semitic dog whistle. That's how insane this whole thing is. They clearly have it out for gamers and gaming culture. And now I worry they're trying to use Hassan Piker and his support of extremism and his rhetoric to basically blame it on gamers once again. Instead of going after the alt-right, they're going after the far left. And they're trying to compound the two under one label, gamers. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe that doesn't actually unfold like that, but I'm just pointing it out as something you should pay attention to.
They're so scared of us,
now,
man.
Hassan would respond just before I recorded this video. He quoted the tweet sharing the clip, and he said, "Israel is an apartheid state doing a live-streamed genocide. I think it's wrong and dangerous to conflate these heinous actions with Jews. The Apartheid Defense League doesn't because they think they can improve Israel's standing by silencing its critics. It won't change the truth." Now, of course, not a single person is surprised that he didn't condemn the attacks in any sort of a way. But also in this, he's pretty much ignoring any claims about his rhetoric being dangerous. And he immediately makes this claim that if you are conflating this with Israel or Jews with Israel in this case, you're doing something wrong. That is very hypocritical. I don't think I've ever heard Hassan refer to a Jewish person as anything other than a Zionist. I mean, that's really all he's done over and over again for years now. So it's pretty rich hearing from this guy who's been conflating the two or using Zionist as an overall label, trying to claim this and basically shift the blame, somehow making the people reporting on this the bad guys. But anyways, that was his response, and a lot of people are clowning on this, of course, but I'm surprised he didn't blame it on Asmongold. And I'm not even joking. Like, so at this point, he has blamed pretty much everything that's ever happened to him on Asmongold. And over the past 2 weeks or so, included with the
people looked up Asmongold more than the NBA.
Recent updates of the various events that's been going on with Hassan, he's been very angry at Asmongold. And this tweet in particular really got under his skin. You can see Dexerto sharing this list that shows the most searched terms on YouTube this year, and coming in at number 8 on the entire platform is the phrase Asmongold. Pretty much only beaten out by keywords like ASMR, Trump, Mr. Beast, music, etc. And guess who's not in the top 100? Hassan. Not the top 10, the top 100. He didn't get in, which is kind of odd for someone who, at least at a time, wielded so much influence on Twitch, but I guess that doesn't really carry over as well as Asmongold has carried it over to YouTube. But he would quote that saying, right-wing commentary has devolved to further depths than you can even imagine.
Yep.
The face of the modern right is a Gamergate sweatlord who proudly doesn't shower and lives in his own rot.
Me too,
Incredibly easy grifts.
Yeah.
It'll never not be funny that Ben Shapiro is losing to this. Well, you're also losing to it, like, clearly.
Yeah, that's me.
Like, you've been dethroned as the top political streamer by a guy who doesn't even identify himself as a political streamer. But anyways, you can see, as per usual, there's no actual criticism. There's no real
But if you think about it, doesn't that just make it even more sad? If that's how he puts it, doesn't that make it even more sad for him? This is like, you know what this is like, guys? This is like, have you ever played like a game and then you're like winning like really fucking hard? Like you're fucking destroying the other team, and someone on the other team who like you just beat will say like, you're trash. They'll be like, you're fucking trash, bro. And it's like, dude, you just lost. Like, you literally just got stomped, and they're like, yeah, you're trash though. That's like literally this.
He thought it's just insults. Calling him a Gamergate sweatlord in that he doesn't shower and lives in rot. Very apt discussion here, but also, like, at the end of the day, this guy seems to be relating to more people than you. Isn't that kind of embarrassing to admit? But anyways, there was another very weird clip. This one's weird. Hassan is going after Asmongold.
I just find it really, like, hilarious. Am I the only one that finds this hilarious? That, like, Asmongold was, like, this dude that, like, grew up kind of poor, and he still lives in the same house. Like, the same house from his childhood. He, like, refuses to, like, get, like, a nice, expensive house. And then he's the one that's like, oh, yeah, you know, I know I don't agree with all of like the, you know, the commie stuff, and like, you know, like he agrees with like some of it, but like not all of it, right? And then you have maximum like giga Chad version of like the commies, right? He's like their superhero unit commie, and he's like the furthest from like being like an actual like working class person. It's actually so funny.
Basically calling him a soy white supremacist. Also understand the day before this hilarious. He said he's never slandered Asmongold.
Like, am I the only one that finds that irony to just be like amazing? It's like every time it's like it's like some you know, the people who are like super, like, as they would call, privileged, telling the people who grew up, telling the people who like went through like periods of having like no money, telling them how things are and telling them how to do things. It's actually,
which is like the
I
funniest
don't,
thing
man.
ever. But he
Thanks
calls
for
him a
the bits,
soy
Esty.
white
Thank you.
supremacist and says basically, why not just say the N-word at this point? This is the guy who's trying to be progressive, encouraging people to do this?
Black fatigue. Oh yeah. Asmongold is entertaining the new meta of black fatigue, which is like, I'm sorry, the lamest fucking way to be a white supremacist. Just say it. Just say the N-word, dude. Like that shit is so frustrating where it's like you're such a fucking pussy that on the one hand you're like you just can't fucking openly be racist. You have to just be like, oh, I just have black fatigue. Like, what is this soy white supremacy? If you're gonna be a white supremacist, just be a fucking white supremacist. It's like, what are we doing? Oh, I'm
just saying, a lot of the people, I'm just saying, like, back in the days, back in the Counter-Strike days, the people the people that said the N-word had black people that were friends with them, and they all said it, and they were actually not racist. They were like less racist than like these like these leftist people. They're like actually racist.
It's emotional labor that I have to be around black people.
That's not what it means. What is he talking about? When people are talking about the whole notion of like white fatigue or black fatigue, they're not talking about not wanting to be necessarily around black people. That's not what they mean by that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what the fuck black fatigue is, it's good that you don't know what it is, but
Tell
it's like
me,
a
what
new
is it?
TikTok thing.
Tell me what it is.
Okay. It's a
What is
new
it?
TikTok meta of just being racist, saying
Okay.
that you're fatigued by the ways in which black people fucking behave. That's what this is. Gonna get
It's people being fatigued at like the whole culture around it's not the thing is too, it's not even like just, so first off, the whole thing around that is not even just like other races saying that. There's like black people who are saying that too, and it refers to like the whole culture of like what's going, like how do I explain it? It's like the entire culture of coddling black people basically, and like the attitude that it developed basically. Does that make sense? It's a cultural thing, not a racial thing.
clip so hard, man. Suck my dick. Shut the fuck up about clipping, please. Oh my.
Careful, Leaf, you might get canceled again. I mean, I don't really care. Like, I know I'm not racist, and like, I literally just explained to you that it's a cultural thing and it's not a racial thing. And it's like I said, like it has to do with like it has to do with the culture that was created by the coddling of other cultures, basically. Shamek says, I'm black, and you're absolutely right. Yeah, and it's like I said, I don't have anything against black people. Like, you know, to do the cliche, I have friends who are black, and I have no issue with them, right? My issue is with culture. My issue is not with the race of a person, not the race of a person, not like the DNA that they have. My issue is with the culture that people have. And the culture doesn't care like what your actual race is. Your immutable characteristic, it has nothing to do with culture. Culture is the learned part of it. Nyog, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh no, it sucks. I'm a culturalist. Yeah, me too. I think there's cultures that are just bad, basically. And the problem, so the funny thing is, like, here's the irony. I'm going to tell you like the actual irony here. The irony is that the thing that they call black fatigue was caused by racism in the first place. That's the irony. Because this whole culture of not holding people accountable, babying people, and babying like entire races of people, not holding entire races of people accountable because of being afraid of being racist, and basically coddling like those ethnic groups is what is causing this in the first place. It's causing a lot of the problems within those communities, within those cultures. That is the problem, basically. That is where this all comes from.
My God, yes, I am talking about white.
Shanik says, I think it's the fact that degeneracy and the criminal element became the most popular aspect of Black culture. And yeah, that's because nobody has held anyone accountable for it, right? Right, Shanik? I mean, you just think about like how people see it. Oh yeah, you know, and think about how racist this is actually. I'm not saying this is what I believe in, but like, just understand like what I mean here. Like think about this, guys. They're like, oh, those people are in jail and it's not their fault because they have no agency over it. It's like the racism of low expectations, basically. It's like actually like incredibly racist. And what that does, it has a cascading effect, right? It goes downstream and it just wrecks everything downstream, right? So you start off with, oh, there's like no agency, like therefore, like, you know, we shouldn't apply the law because, you know, we feel bad for them. So like we can't apply the law like evenly. And so what you do is you have areas now where there's less policing, and that causes more crime, which causes people to be born in areas of like more crime and people to like stay in kind of this impoverished state, right? And then it leads to like actual, it has so many, guys, there's so many branching effects. I can't even fucking tell you all of them like right now. Like there's so many. Like this goes into things like entitlements, which is like it leads people to be reliant on the government and makes them incapable of actually like that part actually does breed like a sort of cultural it's like a cultural cancer that like makes it so people can't pull themselves out of bad situations because they're not responsible for like their own actions. And like they're just keep giving them money and stuff like that. And this leads to like such a bad like so many downstream effects. Like I can't even begin to like this stream is not like the place where I can explain all of this. Basically, self-imposed food. Yeah. I mean, you can go on and on. More crime. Big companies, like, you know, big companies get robbed. Prices go up for everything. Big company moves out. All that's left is small companies that like try to survive. They have to all raise their prices. There's less product. There's less products to buy, which makes everything more expensive. And then now the living conditions are bad, which leads to like people having more crime. Like it's a fucking circle, right? It's spiraling a hole down the drain, like all the way. And everybody else doesn't want to even acknowledge it because they're afraid of looking like they're racist. To be like, look, there's a problem with the culture here in this city. Yes, it is a lot of Black people here, but there is a problem here with the culture and we need to solve it. And nobody can say that because they don't want to feel like they're racist. It's actually, it makes the problem worse, basically.
Supremacy, okay? Yes, in the process of me talking about white supremacy, white supremacist bad faith actors will clip me out of context to make it seem like I'm actually in favor of white supremacy while I'm in the process of complaining about it.
I mean, besides the fact that he's falsely labeling Asmongold as a white...
Furione says, Thomas Sowell will set you straight on this and economic. Yeah, I read Thomas Sowell. I love Thomas Sowell. I'm a huge fan.
Supremacist with no proof whatsoever. It's a very weird tack.
I can tell you the one that I read that was pretty good. If you're interested, chat, in like reading up, let me look at my audiobook. I forgot what was that. I want to get the title right. There's like two that I read recently that are pretty good. Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell. That's one to write down. And Social Justice Fallacy is both pretty good ones. If you're like more interested in just like economics, he does have just like an economics book. But there's a couple other ones I read, like Charter Schools and Their Enemies by Thomas Sowell. I recommend Sowell if you're kind of interested in this stuff.
For the supposed progressive here to want someone to use slurs. Like Asmongold doesn't say that. You have no proof that he does, and I'm confused as
You guys know Thomas Sowell used to be a commie? Did you guys know that? He was a commie and then he realized, like, wait a minute, this stuff sucks actually. He was like a huge commie in like university, and then he was like, wait a minute.
as to why he is so aggressive in trying to convince Asmongold to say words like that. It's very strange.
Wait, hold on, wait, let me make
then
sure I
again-
got that right. I'm pretty sure that was the story. Hold on. Was Thomas Sowell yes, he used to be a commie. Okay, yeah.
And are we surprised at all? But going back to everything that's occurring right here,
He basically like realized that it was bad at some point. He realized that like wait a minute, this doesn't solve anything.
he's a bit nervous. Okay, Hassan is a bit nervous about what's going on here because he live streamed right after he made his response to the CNN feature, and he's basically having to reel in his own audience, which is not surprising at all. He is trying to get them to stop Fed posting, to stop giving people basically some examples of his community being outrageous. And
The thing that's funny, sorry, it's a slight tangent on the same topic. The other thing too is a lot of times people will ascribe racism to a person being, what's the word? A person being wary of certain aspects that actually don't even have anything to do with race. Like, for instance, like a lot of people, I remember this being brought up like before as like a point of racism, that like if you saw, so they'll say this like, so if you see a black man with a hoodie and he's walking towards you, are you going to be scared? And then it's like, you say yes, yeah, I'll be scared. And they'll be like, oh, you're racist. It's like, no, but wait, if it was a white dude too, or a Mexican or an Asian, I would also be scared. So like it actually has nothing to do with the person being black, but they will use that as like a way to be like, gotcha, bitch. But it's actually nothing to do with it.
Crazy things about the recent shooting. They can't keep it together. You can see the screen. These are people sharing stuff to him right here. And this is what he had to say.
I'm not gonna use this, dude.
Where you're at is also part of your action. Yeah, exactly. There are so many factors involved in this that are just based on like sort of pattern recognition and like just general. Guys, you have to understand. This is okay. Hear me out before you judge what I'm saying. Okay, prejudice is one of humanity's greatest evolutions. Actually, if you believe in evolution, or if you believe in God, then it would be like gifts. Prejudice is one of humanity's greatest assets, and that is the ability to recognize patterns and to protect yourself from it. Protect yourself from it. Now, the thing is obviously you also have to temper that, right? It is a animalistic thing that we have, and you do have to temper it, right? But the idea that it's only bad, that prejudice is only bad, I think is just, not only is it ignorant, I think, of reality, it's not only is it ignorant of reality, it is, I'll just say that, it's ignorant of reality, basically. Pattern recognition is different from bigotry. Yeah, so the thing is you have to understand when it becomes bad, when prejudice becomes bad, is when you tie the wrong threads together, basically. So it's like I explained before, right? You have the case of the person wearing a bandana and a hoodie, and they have their hands in their pockets and they're walking towards you, right? And then you have, so take that exact same scenario, right? Now imagine that, and you know, it's a black person. Let's just say it's a black person with a hoodie, a bandana, hands in their pockets, walking towards you, baggy pants, right? That would naturally have like a kind of fear-inducing effect just based on like what you know of like the possibilities of like what could happen here, right? All of these factors together. And again, now where it becomes bad is when you only take the racial aspect of that, and that's the only thing you look at. And not only is that bad, but it's also not only is that bad because it is not looking at the whole it's not looking at the whole situation like as a whole thing. It also narrows like your actual ability to make these decisions, right? So like take the exact same example. Let's just take like Morgan Freeman wearing a suit, walking down in the same way, like walking towards you, but he's wearing a suit and it's Morgan Freeman, right? He's just like an old black dude. And he's like walking towards you. You would not have the same if you have the same response, then there's something wrong with you. Do you see what I'm saying? If you have the same response to that, then maybe you're racist. But like for me, like that wouldn't threaten me at all. In the same way, if you took that same thing and you swapped the race out there. So that's kind of what I mean by the race not being the actual factor there. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just use Morgan Freeman as like an example because he looks like a very chill dude. You know? Basically the optics matter. But yeah, but see the thing is the idea that like that the prejudice of like seeing the initial scenario and not being afraid at all is kind of suicidal, really. Because that's the kind of scenario that leads you to walk down a freaking dark alley in the middle of a city at like 2 a.m. Right? Like that's called natural selection at that point. Right. And again, that's why I'm saying that that the initial like the idea of prejudice is it's just it's an ability that like humans have to like draw to it's pattern recognition. It's probably tied to like IQ in a way, right? Where you see a situation and you're prejudging that situation based on the pattern of factors that exist. Right? That's all it is. But like all instincts, right? Like all instincts, they have to be tempered, right? And that's what makes us further. That's what separates humans from the animals, right? Is our ability to temper our judgment. That's, yeah.
Y'all are so stupid. Okay, guys, this is not like, this is not a time to be fucking
right.
It's not a time for you to say.
You guys think I'm fucking canceled for that talk? What do you guys think? Did I present that okay? Like I'm always worried talking about it that it's going to be taken out of context, but I really think I'm right. I really do. I've thought about this a lot. I'm just really bad at explaining things, I think.
Fun, wild, edgy things. Okay, there are probably 1,000 people in the chat currently documenting every single thing that you guys are saying in an effort to basically tie it back to me and this community. And
Alright, thank you for the bits. Sane and rational, so yes, you'll be canceled for it.
And rob it of its context or anything like that. And to try to get me fucking deplatformed. Like, lock it in.
Yeah, they got to lock it in, which is funny to admit. Basically, you're saying that your community is doing these things that are going to make you look bad, and they have to lock it in to not get you into further trouble. And this all kind of circles back to the fact that he won't actively or loudly condemn what happened because he's so audience locked. He's audience captured. He can't condemn the shooting because he'll get eaten alive by his own audience. And he knows that. That's why he's not condemning it. It's very obvious that that's what's going on here. And he's trying to basically avoid doing that while also trying to calm down his audience a little bit and get them to not make him look bad, which good luck, because you cannot contain these people. They're unhinged, and there's too many of them to police at this point. So I don't even know why he's bothering with this. But that is the very wild situation. Hassan's looking pretty cooked. Twitch is looking very cooked right now. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see if this keeps going. But for now, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.
It is going to be very interesting to see what the actual... Did I already thumbs up it? It is going to be really interesting to see like what the actual response from like Twitch is going to be on this. which is probably going to be nothing. I think this is a nothing. I think this is a nothing ever happens angle here. I think so, but we'll see. All right. Let's see.
Black fatigue.
What
Oh
is
yeah. Asmongold is entertaining the new meta of black fatigue, which is like, I'm sorry, the lamest way to be a white supremacist. Just say it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Do we have the clip
Thank
of
you.
my VOD talking about this topic?
Bro,
Let's
I
hear
have
it.
streamed clips dating back to 2015. What question is even that?
What's that? What's that? Is that your vibrator?
Let's see if we do. Is that why black fatigue is a thing? Black fatigue isn't a thing. Bitch fatigue is a thing. Ain't nobody tired of him. We're tired of her. No, don't go and make this a race issue. Stop.
Yup.
Black fatigue. Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I think.
Asmongold is entertaining the new meta of black fatigue.
Don't go and make this a race issue. Stop.
Hi, mommy.
Why do you do this? This is embarrassing. This is crazy.
The lamest fucking way to be a white supremacist. Just say it. Just say the N-word, dude. That shit is so frustrating where it's like, you're such a fucking pussy. You just can't fucking openly be racist. You have to just be like, oh, I just have black fatigue.
Why are you literally just lying?
I thought they were friends. Wait a minute, guys. I thought they were friends. I thought Asmund and Hassan were friends a couple months ago. Am I? No, they weren't friends. Hassan has never liked him, really. But why does Asmund? So is Asmongold just being nice? He's just like kind of being very nice to him and stuff like that. Man.
Like, really, it makes you look like a retard. It's actually fucking embarrassing.
That's what
Yep.
this is. Gonna get clipped so hard, man. Suck my dick.
Wow, you're so cool. Oh my god, he's so cool and so put together.
Oh my god. This is getting bad, guys. This is getting really bad.
Stop crying.
Jeez, this is bad. How do you just go and make a bunch of shit up? Every time he has one of these tantrums, probably 10 times a day, you can see how stressed the dog is on the dog.
In the process of me talking about white supremacy, white supremacist bad faith actors will clip me out of context to make it seem like I'm actually in favor of white supremacy while I'm in the process of complaining about it. Stop.
Do you guys see though? Like, do you guys see the difference? Like, this video is like purely the difference. It's the hardcore leftists are so fucking mad, and then you have the people like who they hate just finding it hilarious. And it happens all the time. It's like always like this.